Bipolar Rollers, welcome back. You know, it's been a while since I did a video on relationships in regards to bipolar disorder. And a quick search online will tell you all you need to know about whether this is in demand. I've done a lot in the past, but people are constantly wondering what the do's and don'ts are when they find out that their partner has bipolar disorder, or before contemplating a new relationship with one. So I thought I'd put together another little video in regards to the do's and don'ts of dating someone with bipolar. Now, little caveat, most of these, if not all of these, apply to any relationship. Really, I think that if you're lacking these things, your relationship is going to have some struggles until that balance is set. So, without further ado, let's talk about the do's and don'ts of dating someone with bipolar. Now, number one, honesty. You have to be honest with your partner. The reality is that bipolar is kind of scary for some people, and it's okay to be honest about that. It's okay to be honest with someone you're interested in who has bipolar. Let them know you have some concerns and fears. But do your best to always be as honest as possible. People with bipolar have learned over the years to distrust not only things, but people based on their condition, their heightened suspicions of things, and just generally being let down by a lot of people that they believed in. So you don't want to play games in that sense. You'll always be honest about your feelings and where you're coming from, obviously. Number two, if you're trying to make it work with someone with bipolar, you're going to have a harder time if you have immoral friends. Now, these are people who, at the first sign of a problem with your relationship or considering someone for a relationship when they have bipolar, that they are the first ones, usually because they're either single or miserable. They are the worst for any relationship. We all have that one friend who can't wait to get you out to the bar, or who isn't really having a great time in their love life. And so they offer what seems like reasonable advice, but is actually a good indicator of why they have no one in their life. Don't take relationship advice from people who aren't happily married or been in a relationship for a very long time and are doing well. Those people don't have anything to offer you. So if you're considering being in a relationship with someone with bipolar, or just in general, do not take advice from people who aren't there and don't know how to get there, because more than likely you will be sabotaging your relationship based on some poor advice. Number three, a lack of consistency. We have had, as bipolar people, some of the most unstable life patterns and life partners for as long as we've been grappling with this condition. So the way to win our trust, the way to show someone with bipolar that you mean what you say and say what you mean, is by being consistent. If you keep changing your mind, if you bend on the things that you say and your actions don't reflect it, that lack of consistency will scare us away like garlic does to vampires. We need you to be stable. People with bipolar who get involved with unstable people, it's predictable results. We need our anchors, and it's not that we're using you, but we need to depend on you. You don't build your house on sand, you build it on a rock. So you got to be consistent, because they need to be able to trust you, and trust comes hard for people with bipolar sometimes because they've been let down so many times. So you got to be consistent, and you can't be bending on your principles and your word, because they will see right through you. Number 4, Ungrateful people don't last long with people with bipolar. We do our best to try to make it through life without letting this condition diminish our will to live and diminish our trust in people. If you value that person with bipolar, the last thing you want to do is not appreciate the effort that they put in to being who you love. And if you don't appreciate them, or they don't feel like their efforts mean anything, that there's no, it's obvious, you want to make somebody feel like their efforts are noted and appreciated. And if you're always taking them for granted, chances are good you're not the one they're going to lean on when it comes to sharing their feelings or showing their efforts, because the reality is you can only be taken for granted for so long before you stop trying, and that becomes the death of a relationship. So don't take them for granted. Be somebody who understands the power of gratefulness. Number 5, this is a big one: ghosting. Now, I'm not going to say that bipolar people don't ghost. In fact, once someone with bipolar feels like you're more of a threat to them than you are somebody stable who they can open up to and share their emotions and their feelings with, bipolar people have been known to ghost. Now, I'm not condoning that behavior. I think ghosting is childish and immature. And I highly recommend that if you are pursuing someone with bipolar or you're in a relationship with them, if you ghost them, the odds of the relationship ever being the same again are pretty slim. We don't trust easy. So when we do, and that trust is broken by shady behavior like ghosting, it's shattered trust, and it's really difficult to come back from. They will never truly believe everything you say from that point on again, unless something miraculous or incredibly redeeming happens. Because the reality is, and this applies for all relationships, nobody likes to be ghosted, and it's a real show of a lack of respect. And frankly, a lot of us have already understood for a long time that people who ghost are people who are lacking integrity. Now, I'm not saying, again, people with bipolar, this is a thing that's noted with them. Once they realize that things are going nowhere, you may not hear from them again. But if you want to make a relationship work with someone with bipolar, or if you're considering taking that step, vanishing from their life and then reappearing again shows only one thing to us: you don't mean what you say, and you can't be trusted. So try not to engage in this junior high behavior of ghosting, because it does nothing to push people with bipolar away faster. Number 6, I believe that's what we're on now, is an inability to show appreciation. Now, this goes back to the gratefulness thing. I get it. Obviously, showing appreciation is part of being grateful. But I can't stress this enough. If someone with bipolar is making strides, if they are improving on their behavior, if they are taking these mental challenges head on, and you're seeing positive signs, let them know. If you matter to them, your words have more weight than anybody else's. So showing them the appreciation for them tackling one of the most frightening and difficult things in life, which is battling your own mind. Show them some appreciation. Let them know. Give them some positive feedback. Let them know that you're proud of them and that they're doing what they need to do to not only better themselves, but to better the relationships they have with other people. What are we at? Number 7, empathy and benefit of the doubt. Now, I know that people with bipolar sometimes can be pretty inconsistent in their behavior until they get into a place in their life when they're getting the proper help that they need and stabilizing. Even then, you have to empathize with what they're going through. There's a battle going on in their head every day, and if you can't empathize with that, you're probably not a safe person for them to be around. Now, it is difficult not to take something that somebody does, especially if you're interested in them. It's difficult to not take it personally when they do things like pull away or get caught in their own mind, or maybe even lash out because they're upset at something. This is a condition of heightened emotions and mood swings. So have a little empathy and give them the benefit of the doubt. Most of the time, it's nothing personal at all. They've just gone through a lot. They're going through a lot every day. And the people that they counted on in the past let them down. So you don't want to become a representative of all those people. You want to try something different, and that requires giving them the benefit of the doubt as often as you can and show them that you're consistent, that you're stable, that you're not going anywhere, and you'll be amazed at how their symptoms lessen and things just balance out. They have to trust you. That's just the reality of things, and that goes for all relationships. Number 8, you want somebody who's educated on your condition. If you're dating someone with bipolar, or you're interested in somebody with bipolar, it would be absolutely foolish for you to not do research on the topic. Get to know what bipolar is. Get to know its root cause, the symptoms. Find out what that person that you love is going through, because that's the quickest way to empathy. You have to just understand how this condition works, how it affects us, and how it shows up as symptoms. So if you don't have any education on the subject and you don't know what to expect, then you are poorly armed for this, and it's going to show. So do what you can to check out videos on YouTube, watch the videos on my channel, get an idea of what your potential partner or your present partner is going through, and it'll make it a lot easier to not take certain things personally. What are we at? Well, we'll say 9, okay? Lack of accountability. My dudes and dudettes, if you do stuff, stand by it. Be accountable. There's nothing worse for someone with bipolar to have to convince somebody that somebody hurt their feelings or disrespected them in some way. Reality is, we all put our foot in our mouths. We all make mistakes. To never be accountable is to show that you're not somebody who will ever take responsibility for their actions or man up or woman up when things get tough. If you're not accountable, you're probably not going to last with us. You gotta learn how to fully look at a situation, understand your part in it, and be accountable. We need you to be mature, stable, and responsible, because we're going through something incredibly traumatic and difficult, and the last thing we need is another train wreck beside us who never takes responsibility. So be an accountable person. It's really not that difficult. Let's say we're on 10. Bad with money. If you're bad with money, it's going to be a difficult relationship. The reality is that bipolar disorder, one of the symptoms is sometimes we get a little frivolous or ridiculous with money, or poor with planning and budgeting. And so an ideal match for someone with bipolar is someone who likes to take responsibility for those things and is a good accountant, you know. Now, I don't know how, I'm sure that a lot of you women out there are used to being that accountant for your men. And a lot of you men out there, you probably had a good woman who was also good with money and was a decent accountant. It's amazing when you have at least one of these people in your relationship, if not two people doing that, but we need a little help sometimes. And an ideal partner for someone with bipolar is someone who looks at the numbers and is realistic, helps you curb some of your frivolous or ridiculous spending habits. I'm not saying that's a must for a bipolar relationship, but it certainly helps. It's a great thing to have. And I'm going to say that this is number 11, and the final point that I'm going to make today: if you are pursuing someone with bipolar, or you're in a relationship with someone with bipolar, and if you're not good with their friends and family, this is going to be difficult for you. The reality is that a bipolar person will lean on you, will cling to you for you're their lighthouse. You know, you are their reminder of the real world, because sometimes we kind of drift a little bit and we need that stable rock, a foundation to cling to. You know, let us know when things are, you know, floating off into space, or be realistic with us. You know, point us in the right direction. Help us out, because the more help we get, the better we are as people. This is a tough road, and you don't want people around you who don't understand how relationships work. You know, if you're the kind of person who, you know, turns your nose up at their friends, or you don't interact with that bipolar person's family eventually, then you kind of help them isolate from the very people who are super important to their mental health and well-being. So don't be that person. Get to know their friends. Get to know their family. Engage. Because if you're dating someone with bipolar, you may need to lean on their friends and family at some point in time during a crisis, or to get advice, or to just let them know that the person that you're interested in is struggling, so that you can get some backup as well. You don't want to isolate yourself from the rest of the world and not be engaged in their little ecosystem, because the reality is, if something goes wrong, you're on your own. And that's a lot of pressure for a person who's interested in someone with bipolar. So, I mean, there are a lot of other useful tips, and I advise that you check out some of my other videos and go online and figure out what the best ways are to become romantically involved with someone with bipolar, or to maintain your relationship with someone with bipolar. As always, I do really appreciate you checking out this little video for your educational purposes. And I advise you to check out some of my other videos, and please, if you haven't already, like this video and subscribe to my channel, because it's really the only way that us guys here who aren't making any money off this keep going and keep providing you quality content. And with that, my bipolar rollers, I'm going to get out of this potential storm, and I want you all to represent.